A new Bloodline member debuts. Solo Sikoa takes the fall for the Bloodline. Sasha Banks is reducing her stock with each promo. All WWE stars hated Ronda Rousey backstage. The Undertaker bashes Triple H's WWE draft. WWE and The Rock responds to his recent accusations, and more. Let's dive right in. The Rock's recent accusations triggered WWE's response. Earlier this month, The Rock faced criticism for being tardy during events leading up to WrestleMania 40. According to insiders who spoke with The Wrap, Johnson arrived 3 hours late before his main event match at WrestleMania 40, and he was 2 hours behind schedule for WWE World, a fan event in Philadelphia. This led to boos from the crowd and negative feedback from local media. A WWE insider explained that Johnson's lateness was due to other WWE commitments and traffic issues in Philadelphia. However, this explanation didn't satisfy fans and the press, who expected punctuality from such a major star. Chris Legentil, WWE's executive vice president for talent relations and head of communications, offered a different perspective. He stated that The Rock was on time for WrestleMania, arrived early for rehearsals, and was a pleasure to work with throughout the entire run. Dwayne was not only on time for WrestleMania, he was hours early to help with rehearsal, and a pleasure to work with throughout the entire run. The Rock also responded to the accusations. The photos uploaded by The Rock on his Instagram account showing him rehearsing at WrestleMania 40 certainly provide evidence that he was present at the event before it began. However, whether this fully proves his innocence regarding his tardiness for WWE World and other events leading up to WrestleMania 40 is subjective and ultimately up to individual interpretation. While the photos may help to alleviate some concerns, they may not completely erase the negative impression created by reports of his lateness. Ultimately, opinions on this matter may vary among fans and observers. Sasha Banks is reducing her stock with each promo. Eric Bischoff recently shared his thoughts on Mercedes Moné and the criticisms surrounding her promo skills in AEW during an episode of 83 Weeks. Bischoff's comments reflected a strong perspective with a critical edge. He highlighted perceived inadequacies in Mercedes Moné's promos, comparing them to the production standards in WWE. Bischoff was clear that he did not like Moné's promo at all. "You give me an iPhone and a flashlight, and I will produce an interview with Swerve Strickland. And I've never talked to the man, much less know what he's capable of delivering. But I swear to God, you give me an iPhone and a flashlight, and I'll produce it that would have blown Mercedes out of the building." She was horrible. Horrible. Eric Bischoff discussed Mercedes Moné's background, observing that her style appears to be aligned with WWE. He acknowledged that while he's not a huge fan of WWE's promos and interviews, he often finds their production quality superior to AEW's. Bischoff noted that WWE's interviews and promos are usually adequate, but they can sometimes fall short of achieving the desired effect due to issues with writing or the talent's capabilities. "You're pointing to Jen Pepperman. I'm going to defend her. And you pointed out that, boy, this feels like a WWE video." Well, she's a WWE talent, Mercedes. So yeah, imagine that. Of course it is. And by the way, if AEW could get within the same zip code of the quality of WWE promos, and by the way, I am not a huge fan of a lot of the promos and a lot of the backstage interviews and all that. I am not a fan of it. I think at best it's adequate, even in WWE. So for all of you who don't think I ever want to criticize WWE, I consistently point out that the interviews and the promos, not 100% of the time, but too often, are just a waste of time. They're not horrible, but they don't accomplish anything. And it's a little bit of a death by a 1,000 cuts when you keep seeing talent on camera who are put into positions where they just can't possibly excel, either because of the nature of the shot or the interview or the writing in some cases, or just because it's filler material and everybody knows it. They tune out of it consciously or subconsciously. That's usually the mark that's kind of like the standard mark. And then every once in a while you get some stuff, usually it happens out in the ring in front of people where it should, where you get that highly charged, emotional kind of roller coaster promo. WWE is phenomenal at that, but a lot of the stuff they do is adequate at best, and I don't even know why they do it. It's a waste of time. All WWE stars hated Ronda Rousey backstage. In her book, Our Fight, Ronda Rousey delves into her WWE experiences, offering candid insights into her time with the company. Notably, She directs strong language towards Bruce Pritchard and John Laurinaitis, expressing her frustrations by telling them to go F themselves. Rousey also alleges that WWE discriminated against women. During a recent episode of SiriusXM's Unlocking the Cage with Jimmy Smith criticized Ronda Rousey for her comments about suffering from concussions during her UFC career and subsequently hiding them while working with WWE. I've never been a religious person. One of the things I've always said about God, he gets all the credit, none of the blame. That's what Ronda Rousey wants. All the credit, none of the blame. I want credit for all my wins, my losses. I had CTE and all this and all that. I'm the greatest to ever do it. But when it didn't work, it was so and so and so and so and never me. She never gives credit to the people who actually beat her. The idea that I left MMA and went to the WWE because I had concussion problems makes no sense. Jimmy Smith claimed that many backstage personnel in WWE and UFC held a negative view of Ronda Rousey. He revealed that these individuals took pleasure in her consecutive losses to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, suggesting that they were rooting against her due to her attitude and behavior. Smith explained that he usually refrains from discussing behind-the-scenes matters, but felt compelled to share his observations regarding Ronda Rousey. He alleged that Rousey's behavior toward backstage staff, including camera operators and audio technicians, was disrespectful and dismissive. According to Smith, Rousey had a tendency to push around or talk down to these staff members, creating an environment of distaste among those who worked with her. He described the reaction of backstage personnel to Rousey's losses in the UFC, indicating that they celebrated her defeats due to their negative experiences with her. I don't talk about things out of school. Do I? Behind the scenes in WWE, behind the scenes in UFC, I don't do that, right? Kind of a personal rule. Let me let you in on something, Ronda, if you are listening. The people behind the scenes, camera people, audio people, the people you can push around and the people you can bully and the people you can talk down to, can't stand your FA. Everybody behind the scenes that had to put a mic on Ronda Rousey couldn't stand her. The Undertaker bashes Triple H's WWE draft. The 2024 WWE draft has concluded, and the new rosters will take effect after Backlash 2024. While some NXT stars had a chance to shine on the main roster, most remained with their respective brands. No tag teams were split up, and excitement was lacking for much of the event. Bianca Belair was selected as the first overall pick, while Jey Uso was the first pick for Monday Night Raw. However, some stars like Roman Reigns were absent or not featured during the draft, leaving many possibilities open. Although the new rosters appear stacked, they haven't undergone significant changes. The Undertaker reviewed this year's draft and expressed disappointment in its underwhelming nature. Aside from a few NXT stars seizing opportunities, there weren't many alterations to both Raw and SmackDown rosters. You know what it missed for me? I want to see some deals made right. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of teams, they want a quarterback. They trade up or they trade down. You know, that would to me be more compelling to watch. You're expecting your fan base to watch 2 nights of TV content. And I mean, to be completely honest, there wasn't a whole lot of change really. Not only did The Undertaker, but millions around the world found this year's edition a bit unnecessary. Do you agree to The Undertaker's comments on this year's WWE draft? A trade or two is expected to take place after the draft. According to a report from WrestleVotes, the Stamford-based company was pleased with the results of the 2-night event. However, following the 2024 WWE draft, there's anticipation for 1 or 2 trades to occur before the upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, scheduled after Backlash France. Sources indicate that WWE is generally pleased with the draft results and how everything played out on TV. I've been told they didn't want too much high-level shuffling, as they were satisfied with the pre-draft breakdowns at the top of the card. It's worth mentioning that a trade or two is expected before Monday's roster-locking deadline, the report stated. Rhea Ripley dumps Dominic Mysterio. On his Not Some Wrestling podcast, WWE personality Roberts suggested a storyline involving Liv Morgan potentially stealing Mommy's on-screen boyfriend, Dominic Mysterio, while the Eradicator is on hiatus due to injury. Roberts proposed that Dirty Dom could assist Morgan in capturing the Women's World Championship before Liv and Ripley battle for the title and Dominic's custody in a ladder match upon Mommy's return. Roberts pointed out that Ripley could win the ladder match, hug Mysterio, then deliver a low blow to him, effectively ending their on-screen relationship. Rhea Ripley wins this ladder match and she gets custody. And Dominic goes in for the reunion, right? And they hug. And then Rhea Ripley kicks him with the low blow. Dominic goes down, she throws the paper down on him, and Rhea Ripley is victoriously holding the Women's Championship above Dominic Mysterio. Sam Roberts said. Solo Sikoa takes the fall for the Bloodline. At WWE Backlash, the newly formed alliance between Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga will be put to the test as they face off against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. While many expect the Bloodline to emerge victorious, it's worth noting that the faction no longer has a significant numbers advantage without Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso. This scarcity of opportunities to cheat could impact the outcome. Veteran journalist Bill Apter expressed apprehension about the Bloodline's future during an episode of Sportskeeda's Unscripted. Apter predicted that the Bloodline may struggle against the aggressive ruthlessness of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, potentially leading to a loss at WWE Backlash. It's going to be an RKO, it's going to be a stunner, and it's going to be Solo taking the fall. Randy Orton and KO win that match. The Apex Predator and the Prizefighter are certainly no novices and have more than enough talent to take the win. It remains to be seen if the Bloodline will have any tricks up their sleeve at WWE Backlash as they try to establish their dominance. A new Bloodline member debuts. It has been reported that another Samoan star is expected to make his debut in the promotion, and WWE personality Sam Roberts believes that this could happen at Backlash France this Saturday. Roman Reigns has been on hiatus since losing his undisputed WWE Universal Championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. In Reigns' absence, Solo Sikoa has seemingly taken over the Bloodline. Reports have suggested that Jacob Fatu has signed with the Stamford-based company, leading many to anticipate his eventual joining of his family's faction. On his Not Some Wrestling podcast, Sam Roberts predicted that Fatu could join the Bloodline at Backlash France as Sikoa and Tonga face off against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. This potential addition to the Bloodline could significantly impact the dynamic of the match and the faction's future. Weave the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at Backlash. Is this where another member of the Bloodline comes out? I think very possibly, right? All these rumors of Jacob Fatu too are just lingering everywhere. Is that where we see him? I hope so. It would be very, very exciting, he said.